really love Peridot. There are a lot of different things that Peridot has to offer, but I love all of the different orthorhombic forms. These crystals are really cool. The color is amazing. Okay, we've got a clue. You Peridon't want to miss out on these gems. Okay, that gives me a pretty good indication of what's in the box, but let's see. Peridot! Peridot has had a treacherous journey to the earth, through the earth. Let's just level set here. We've done Peridot episodes before, and some of you have not been very happy with our pronunciation of Peridot. So some people in the gem industry also call it Peridot. Most people call it Peridot, so we're gonna stick to Peridot for this episode, but we do want to acknowledge you Steven Universe fans and other people who like to use the Peridot pronunciation. So this is August birthstone, an orthorhombic stone. It's in the orthorhombic crystal system. It's a magnesium iron silicate. It has a hardness of about 6.5 to 7. This crystal is a great example of form that is typical of Peridot. You have 6-sided prism that comes to kind of a termination at the top. If you look at it in cross section, it's a very typical form of Peridot. It looks similar to other orthorhombic gemstones. It can actually have kind of a greasy luster when you look at it, but it can be anything from vitreous to greasy, but you can see on the surface that it is scratched a little bit. A few things that immediately caught my eye, the color. So these are pretty green. Peridot has a yellowish green typically. Peridot is an idiochromatic stone, meaning that it's colored by the elements that are essential to its chemical composition. Iron 2 causes the really vibrant green color. Iron 3 causes the yellowish color, so it's usually a combination of iron 2 and iron 3. Increased chromium content can cause a brighter green. So you've got a few different elements interacting there to create this amazing color. So Peridot is part of what's called the olivine group. And the olivine group is a larger group of minerals that forms what's called an isomorphous series. So in isomorphism, different elements can replace others in the atomic structure to create slightly different variations of species in a group. So forsterite is a magnesium-rich part of the series. Phaelite is the more iron-rich, and Peridot can essentially fall anywhere on that spectrum. It often falls more strongly in the forsterite part of the series, but really it can be a combination of any, which provides different colors, different optical properties. So Peridot, like diamond, actually forms deep in the mantle, which is unlike most other gems, which form in the crust of the earth. So most scientists think that Peridot formed in essentially a reservoir of magma underneath the earth. So volcanic eruptions brought Peridot to the surface of the earth, and then as it got to the surface, it crystallized. Places like Peridot Mesa in Arizona are famous for this because there are a lot of Peridot deposits there. And so mostly it's found in nodules, which are little rounded rocks, and it can be found in lava flows as well. Okay, I love these crystals. They're very pretty, but we've got another box, so I want to see that. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. So Peridot forms deep in the mantle, and it can come to the earth via volcanic eruption. However, it can also come to the earth in a different manner. So this is what's called pallasitic Peridot. And a palisite is a form of stony iron meteorite that comes to the earth via meteorite. And so you can actually find these pallasites all over the world. Some of the most famous ones are near us in Kentucky. And a lot of pallasites have the mineral olivine in them, but a few of them, and it's pretty rare, have gem quality olivine in the variety of Peridot. And so pallasitic Peridot is a really fun type of Peridot. Eagle Station is one of the places where the meteorite kind of deposited this pallasitic Peridot, and potentially one of the first faceted pallasitic Peridots came right from our neighbors in Kentucky. There's a confirmed instance of faceted pallasitic Peridot from the early 1900s from a different locality, but for sure in the late 1800s, early 1900s, we've got faceted palisatic peridot. So Peter Simon Pallas named palisatic peridot in the early 18th century, but it was actually kind of controversial. When palisatic peridot first came around, a lot of people did not believe that it was of extraterrestrial origins. They thought it was something else. There are a few defining internal characteristics that can help differentiate between palisatic peridot and peridot of terrestrial origins. So first, there is a sample from a place in Indonesia that actually has really cool kind of iridescent needles. In many localities of palisatic peridot, there are acicular inclusions that can form at 90 degrees. Actually, they've formed in dense enough concentrations to make the stone a little bit translucent. And theoretically, if they were cut into cabochon, they could actually create a star. So that's really cool. And that has not been found in any samples of terrestrial peridot. So that's a great way to differentiate between the two. You can also find iron oxide staining in palisatic peridot. So these are like patches of red. So palisites are iron-rich rocks, and so you can have staining in the interior of the gem quality olivine or of the peridot. Oh, it's heavy. I've been told to be careful with this one. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow, this is a dense boy. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is so pretty. So this specimen is really cool. This is peridot in matrix. So peridot is often found in igneous rock, basalt, and ultramafic rock. Basalt rock is typically a result of lava flow, very hot temperatures. The largest peridot is 311 carats. It's in the Smithsonian Museum, and that was found on the Egyptian island of Zabargan. Peridot is actually interesting because, like spinel, it has often been confused for other gems like topaz and emerald. So Cleopatra had a famous emerald collection. It was probably a peridot. This is really cool because you can see the peridot and the host rock is kind of intertwining, and some of the crystals down here are quite well formed. They have really good deep saturated color, that really vibrant yellowish green. So that is a super fun, very heavy, and somewhat fragile piece. Let's dig into the next box. Oh my goodness. Peridot is one of my favorite gemstones to test. It has some really cool optical properties that make testing actually really easy because there are a few defining characteristics that peridot possesses. So first of all, peridot has a really high what's called birefringence. So your birefringence is essentially the maximum numerical difference between RIs, or refractive index. So the refractive index is essentially a measure of how light bends or refracts when it enters a stone. In peridot, there is a wide range of RIs that it possesses based on the crystal structure and the differences in the crystal structure throughout the gemstone. This high birefringence in practicality matters because when you look at the stone, it appears to double. So actually when you're looking at it under magnification, or even right here, I can tell just looking at it, it looks kind of fuzzy. It's kind of difficult to focus your eyes. If there are inclusions, often they will look doubled. It actually makes it really fun to look at, and again, really easy to identify because not many other green stones possess that quality. Zircon would be the only one. Green zircon can be a good contender for doubling. The high birefringence, the strong double refraction, that's number one that makes peridot super easy to differentiate. Number two, the inclusion. So peridot is famous for what's called lily pad inclusions, which are essentially circular stress fractures that occur within the stone. It can be from heating or from other stress. And they'll often have little black inclusions right in the middle. Those are inclusions of chromite. Other mineral inclusions that are often black are often present in peridot, but peridot also has a type of inclusion called Ludwigite. Sometimes it's called Ludwigite peridot, that are long needle-like inclusions that are also dark, and sometimes they can really fill up the stone. So that's a particular type of peridot that some people really enjoy. Another test that I love with peridot is using a spectroscope. So when you use a spectroscope, the purpose is to see how light is absorbed and reflected in the stone. And so when you use a spectroscope, you can see the electromagnetic spectrum. And Peridot also has a very distinct spectrum. Peridot typically has 3 strong bands in the blue-violet section. So this is a typical iron absorption spectrum. They'll be in like the 450s, 470s, 490s part of the spectrum. And so that is another great indicator when you're testing Peridot of its identity. So Peridot is actually really sensitive to thermal shock. So when you're cleaning your Peridot jewelry or your gemstones, you don't want to put them in a hydrosonic cleaner because that can cause stress fractures. It can actually cause it to stress and break, which is super interesting, seeing that some Peridot came to the Earth via a meteorite. So the fiery passage through Earth's atmosphere must have been somewhat stressful. And coming to Earth through volcanic eruption from the mantle must have also been somewhat stressful. So the fact that these Peridots even exist for us today, knowing that they are sensitive to heat, is really interesting. So there are a few really famous localities for Peridot. One is Peridot Mesa in Arizona. Another is the northeastern region of China, or Manchuria. So you'll often see Manchurian Peridot on the market. That's where this round brilliant Peridot is from. Actually, that one has a few black inclusions that I can see. I actually can see one of the inclusions doubling when I rotate the stone, so that's fun. This Peridot, which is a little bit larger, this has a really nice vibrant green color. This is from Myanmar, which is another location that is known for its high carat weights, and so that's a really special stone to have. And you can actually purchase these individual loose gemstones and the jewelry that I'm wearing at JTV, one of our authorized retailers. They have an amazing selection of Peridot loose gemstones and jewelry, so we'll put the links in the description of what I'm wearing, these gemstones below. You should really go check that out. Okay, we always have a closer look on this channel. This is kind of tricky because I really love Peridot. There are a lot of different things that Peridot has to offer, but I have to say my favorite is this mineral specimen, which we didn't really talk that much about, but I love all of the different orthorhombic forms that you can see on there. The color is amazing. It's a pretty good size, and so take a closer look. So Peridot is super fun. It's August birthstone. It's actually the 16th wedding anniversary stone, but it's also just a gorgeous yellowish green stone. So if you want to learn more about Peridot, go to gemstones.com. You can watch more videos, read more articles, and learn about this amazing extraterrestrial gem. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.